Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, my team. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome back to the last session of today's conclave series. I would like to introduce our third speaker for the day, Amay sir, Amay Joshi sir. Amay sir has 14 plus years of experience across IT, airlines, and consulting companies, and has worked in different domains like retail, public transport, express courier, cargo, aviation, and rail. Amay sir has worked with both IT product and services companies and started career with Kingfisher Airlines. Also worked with Air Asia, Berhad, Go Air, Deloitte, Icertis in the past. Currently, Amay sir works as a principal product manager with an IT multinational, helping companies build ID products and scale from 0 to 1 in their product lifecycle. So I welcome you, sir, to the Spectrum, that is the virtual conclave of 2023 of MITSD, and looking forward for your session. Over to you now. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you so much for having me here. Good afternoon to everyone. Thanks for joining in. Always difficult to join in post lunch. This session, always the challenging one. So, no, I will try my best to ensure that you don't fall asleep. But then, if you do, please keep yourself on mute. No, we don't want the snoring noises to be on the call. So please be on mute. And if you have any questions, do stop me then and there. You could actually raise your hand or put a question in the chat. And I have budgeted some time at the end of the session to ensure that we get to discuss this. This is more of a discussion area because all of us are into understanding being part of the last mile delivery. No, we started a couple of years ago when we were talking about last mile delivery by asking who has experienced last mile delivery. After the advent of Swiggy's and Zomato's and Blinkits and Zeptos, now the question I ask is there anybody who has not experienced last mile delivery? Because all of us are so exposed to this area that this has become part and parcel of our daily life. Yeah, so today I plan to cover this in terms of understanding, right? So what is last mile delivery and quick commerce, touching upon few things before we really jump into the challenges of it or the problems of it. Who really pioneered this last mile delivery in India? And when I come there, all of you, would realize that it was there with us for so long. We never called it by this name. It's just that it has become a fancy name now. How the food delivery business went ahead with its consolidation, then move from e-commerce to food and quick commerce, right, where the real last mile delivery challenges are. How it's done, understand few bits on the operations side, the Indian players who are into it, how the idea came from, how the typical operations problems are here, the challenges, the impact, and then have it open for discussion, right? So no, these are the only two slides which are sort of definition centric because the other is more of a discussion. So last mile delivery, as the definition goes, is the last mile, of course, because the term was invented in the West. When we get it to India, it becomes last kilometer or the final leg of the journey of be it people, goods, food, anything. So how did the name originate? For all of us who have lived through the pre-mobile era, there used to be a long waiting time for getting a landline at home. And the challenge was that how do you lay that cable from the nearest box where the telephone line has come to your house? And that was the last mile problem. So that's where the term originated. But when it comes to be it food, people, the likes of Amazon and Flipkart, the likes of Swiggy and Zomato or quick commerce, the challenge is different. The challenge is that it is all B2B until this stage, from wherever it is picked up to the next Amazon warehouse, to another warehouse, to your city, to the final delivery place, it's all B2C. This last part is B2C. Now imagine the example of Swiggy, imagine the example of Zomato, the last mile, when it comes to the retail channel, when it comes to you as a consumer, it becomes B2B from a B2B space, right? There are things which are often beyond control. So it's very easy to move large packets between Bangalore and Pune or Mumbai and Delhi because they're going by trucks. There is no sort of some time available as a buffer to cover up for any delays. But when it comes to that last mile, getting it to your house or my house from the nearest distribution center, there are a lot of unknowns which come in. So you have delays due to rain, delays due to traffic, delays due to congestion, delays due to hotel not preparing your order on time. And these are small size parcels. So we are looking at high volume in terms of deliveries, but we are also looking at small sizes and all done on a two-wheeler or a small tempo. So this couple of things add up to what our challenges are. Now, last mile part of the problem. The other is quick commerce. Now, quick commerce is nothing but faster e-commerce, right? So commerce was we going to the store purchasing. That became e-commerce because it could be done online. Then it came on mobile. And now all of this has just gone quick because people are promising deliveries in 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and so on. So quick definition, any delivery of goods done immediately after ordering is quick commerce. So by default, the entire food delivery cycle, be it Swiggy, Zomato, or few Uber Eats was into this domain, or anybody else who was into this domain or wants to get into domain, becomes quick commerce. Now, additionally, the likes of Zepto's, Blinkit, Swiggy Mart, Big Basket are the ones which are moving towards this quick commerce game, have moved, few have vacated few spaces, few continue to add on, so on and so forth, right? So the aim these guys have is to replace the traditional way. So they don't want you to walk to a store and buy something. They want you to search their catalog, spend time on your phone so that you decide to buy more. The very same way when the traditional retail shifted from a mom and pop store to a retail store where you went with your cart and started buying things which you did not need. All of this, they want you to move to a phone where again you want to buy something, you visit the app and then end up buying things which you don't need in addition to what you already, right? How are they making money? Of course, the same thing which retailers earlier did, avoiding middlemen, passing on larger commission as discount to consumers and attracting more consumers and playing the game of volume. So if we have seen Swiggy and Zomato closely over the years, it started with discounting, started with advertising, then slowly came the delivery charges, slowly came the differential pricing where what you pay in restaurant is actually much lower than what you pay on the platform when you order. So all of these things today in terms of quick commerce, we are in the early stages, which is the discounting part. We'll slowly get there the way Zomato and Swiggy got us used to that platform where we now most of the times don't really bother on what is the price differential and end up ordering. These platforms of quick commerce want us to go there slowly, right? But who really pioneered this? So I'm going to play this advertisement. I hope you get the voice as well, and then we'll get to the next stage. Right. So I hope you got the volume as well with the ad. Sometimes challenges with PowerPoint. But if you go back and see, the first quick commerce in India was actually pioneered by Domino's. And they were the ones who said quick delivery. Yeah, completely changed the food model. That is how they were born. And I'll take that as an example to really ensure that we understand what quick commerce is all about, right? So extensive use of maps. What Domino's does before starting a new store is that they look for a 8 to 9 minute driving radius from the store. In India, they've called it Lakshman Rekha. Their delivery boys were known as SDM, or safe delivery persons. Of course, I know you know very well that people do go wrong side. It's not really safe the way they call themselves safe, and the challenges around it. And that's what the challenges of quick commerce are. And they will have a limited menu. So you don't really have hundreds of things on the menu. You will have 30, 40 things which have a lot of common ingredients, which are easy to make, which can be done by literally anybody because you have a manual to look at it and do it. And there are visual cues, so your training requirement is less. So from the time you get an order, next 2 minutes you start preparing the pizza. You bake it for 6 minutes, you're 12 minutes down. You cut and pack and dispatch it in the next 5 minutes, giving you about 9 to 12 minutes to deliver. You still do it in 26 minutes and adhering to the 30-minute. Now, did it work well? It did. Did others jump the gun and said they will do it in 30 minutes? They did not, because people were not in a position to give that. Also, a large number of analysts, experts in the food area, and psychologists who were studying this psychology in terms of understanding the marketing behind it said that pizza is not something that people want it to be time critical. So if it comes in 35 minutes, people are okay. I mean, they don't want it to be time critical. What Domino's is doing is they're giving you a free coupon if they don't do it on time as a marketing gimmick, and ensuring that it starts as a repeat business. And it's that anticipation that you could possibly get a free pizza is what is making you order from Domino's, and not really the taste or the 30-minute guarantee, which is there. Fair enough. There could be multiple reasons, but food delivery went through a huge change over the last 5 to 10 years, right? So the old way was every restaurant had a delivery boy. You could just order. You could either go there and order, or you could do it over a call. If you are a regular customer, they would have a specific number for you, which has in their diary an address is written against that. You can get it delivered. Okay. Then came the newer ways, similar to what was then known as dial-a-me. So this was the first consolidation. You have a third-party service call center. You call them, you tell them which restaurant and what food you want, and they will consolidate the order, send it to the restaurant, maintain the list, and deliver it. So now you have a middleman. So there is some more commission which is paid out. But from a restaurant perspective, it eased up a couple of things. And then there are, of course, newer ways of Zomato, Swiggy, Uber Eats, not anymore in India, still present in a couple of markets. So these are all app-based third-party delivery partners, right? So now people have gotten used to the app. They have a leverage with delivery fees and lot many other things. So we've actually surrendered to these apps after being managed to get through our brains on how are we going to do it. Right? So what did it result in? It has resulted in unhappy partners, which is restaurants. We keep hearing this. Unhappy customers because of the cost. And restaurants are again trying to move them back to their own websites or apps and having their own delivery boys and so on. And then comes quick commerce. While this is happening on one side of delivery, there comes quick commerce, right? So, three big ones: Instamart, Dunzo, Zepto on one side. Of course, there is Blinkit, which comes from Zomato. There is Big Basket, which comes from the house of Tatas. So, excuse me. So virtually get about everything that you want in a span of 15, or in case of Zepto, they promise around 10 minutes. And in case of Big Basket, they promise 30 minutes. So everything from 10 to 30 minutes is what you can get. And this is how the generational shift has been when it comes to quick commerce. So there is a first generation where it was self-service. You and I walked to the store. We checked for the available products. We had our own vehicle of going if we have to go somewhere else. Could be a superstore. And typically, you have the second generation which came with delivery. You had not all products, but main products available. A truck would pack it up, make a milk run, and ensure that they are delivered. And they were all stored in the mega warehouses. And then came, of course, the quick commerce, where a small selection is available. These are all two-wheeled vehicles which are coming. Local store or warehouse is storing that. Often, people with small households with order, and what matters is speed. So this is all about speed. The last mile is all about speed, right? So I think I'll take a pause here. If we have any questions, we could discuss those. Or if you have anything to share, I would be glad to know about that. And lastly, if you have used last mile delivery from a quick commerce platform, what has been your experience and who is your the most popular app for you to do that? Because that's always an interesting discussion on why people choose apps. That's what is going to be my next slide. So now I would be very keen to listen to that. So the other way around, do we have anyone who has not used quick commerce? Right. So we have a question here. Okay. Okay, so we have a couple of things. So from a construction perspective, no, quick commerce will not. So we look at another operations concept, which is just in time, which might sound similar to quick commerce, but it is not. That is what works well for construction industries. The reason also I'll tell you, in construction industry, you have a good plan in place. You absolutely know what is the next thing that you have to do. Maybe you are building a house, maybe you are doing interiors of that house. You absolutely know as per plan that today you are going to fix all the railings of balconies, or you are going to fix doors. So you don't start looking for door when you decide to fix doors. And that's why you have already tied up with your door vendor to provide the doors, the exact quantity of doors, and you roughly know when it is going to come, as in terms of work. So you would plan your deliveries accordingly. That is where the just-in-time principle comes into picture. A quick commerce, different from just-in-time, is that you also decide your order on the fly. So you are not taking the delivery then, you're also deciding the order at that time. And that's the difference between construction and quick commerce. So I hope I have managed to answer that question. So Beena, I know you've not used quick commerce. Great. Have you used Swiggy or Zomato for ordering? And that would be the closest to quick commerce. So if you have used that, that's where I would say you are closest to quick commerce, because that also is last mile delivery. The restaurant which gives you your order, the Swiggy's and Zomato delivery boys are actually catering to the last mile of that, getting it to your house. So no, that is one. So okay, how these companies are making profits? How big is the margin since product price don't cross MRP? Great. So overall, as this question, fantastic. I was looking for it. Aditya, yes, Blinkit, very similar to this, will come there, part of the subsequent slides. So yeah, how do these companies make money? Now, to be honest, these companies are not making money, and that's where my next thought is. Nobody is making money. So far, Zomato is in the market for over a decade. Zomato has not made money even at their scale. So how are these companies going to make money? Especially in India, it's more difficult because we also have the concept of MRP. So you cannot charge more than that. So just because somebody is going to give me some vegetables in the next 10 minutes, which is difficult for me to go down and get, they cannot charge me more than the market. Vegetables don't come with MRP. If we shift to other things like, say, just bread and butter, they come with MRP. That makes it even more difficult. But today, if I open, just before this lecture, I was checking for some examples, and I checked on 3 apps. I checked on Zepto, I checked on Dunzo, I checked on Big Basket. 3 of them were giving butter and bread at a discount of 6 to 7 rupees. Now the real question is, why would somebody give that discount, right? And I use Big Basket fairly regularly, and when I order bread and eggs and butter and so on, it's not that they send bread which has an expiry date of tomorrow. It still has 3-4 days to go. So I'm good in using that as well. So this is being done. The discounting model is being used to attract more customers on the platform. So the idea is same, like we saw with the likes of Zomato and Swiggy in the past. The first stage is discount. You discount it to such an extent that people get attracted to it. First part is done. Second, people are used to that. People are used to the convenience. So you stop the discounting, start doing it at MRP. Oh, we are still okay. We are okay. अरे नीचे जाके तो उतना ही लगेगा, तो फिर let's order it. That's done, right? Now there's still a difference, because when you still get it at MRP, there is a challenge. That challenge is your normal store doesn't have a cost of employing a person, having a two-wheeler, having additional storage space, having additional cold storage space, and sending it to your house in 10 minutes or 15 minutes, right? So there is still a cost. And then there will come a third way where you will have an additional charge, which cannot be charged for the product, but it will be for a delivery charge. So point of time will come another 2 years down the line where they will charge a 30 rupee or a 40 rupee fee to get things to you. Will they start making money? If you look at the example of, say, the likes of Zomato and Swiggy, they have still not had profits coming in. So may be difficult, but the ecosystem is maturing. The other side is cost. Now, if you look at the likes of Big Basket or anybody else, they have huge leverage when it comes to their suppliers. So the bulk buying actually helps give them discount. So if you see from a buyer perspective, which is Big Basket, they have eliminated the commission because there are no middlemen. So there is a 10% straight 10 to 15% addition in terms of their margins. So they can pass on some, and because they are purchasing in bulk, there is more margin which they are getting. So instead of a normal guy getting 5 to 7% margin, Big Basket is aiming to get 14 to 15% margin, where they aim to, one, discount it to the customer to attract, and second, take care of their employees and the delivery cost which comes with it. Is it fitting in that 15%? So far, no, but the hope is it will over a period of time. So that's where we are in terms of the current situation, right? So yeah, Aditya, Blinkit works in the same manner which we explained. Vrundarati, does Domino's also come under quick commerce? No, it does not. That comes under food delivery, same like Zomato and Swiggy and any other restaurant doing it through an app like a Fasos or anybody else. But the last mile challenge remains the same. So the classification is different. This is fast food in terms of classification, but the last mile challenge remains the same. Satish, yes, they buy in large scale, something very similar that we discussed. Is it safe for STM to deliver their product in 8 to 10 minutes? Yes, Aditya. So this has been the debate all across, right? Is it really safe? I mean, you can call somebody safe delivery partner, or you can just call them anybody, right? What the person is actually doing is very different than what he is supposed to do. What he is doing may not be in line with the rules and laws of the country as well, and potentially putting his life and somebody else's life in threat as well. So is it really justifiable? No, probably not. So when first time Zepto said they will deliver in 10 minutes, that became a huge thing, right? The ambulance, I mean, I remember some memes, even the ambulance doesn't reach in 10 minutes. So what is the need to send groceries in 10 minutes? That is what people started saying. And very fair, no, that is what the state is right now, that you won't get a doctor in 10 minutes, but you would get a bread and butter in 10 minutes from somewhere. So do we really need to do that? Well, there is business. So you and me are nobody to really comment on should it be done, should it not be done. There is money to be made, and there is business out there. So if you have customers for this willing to pay, then of course there will be entities who would be trying this. So more questions, or do we move on to the next one? I think we could move on to the next one, and we can always come back to questions. Feel free to type in the questions, right? So quickly take you through the order process on how it gets done, right? Real quick, the different processes: search, order, confirm, which is the payment step, is with the consumer, right? So the customer will search an order, the application will confirm the order, and then starts the 10-minute sprint where a person collects everything, then goes to delivery, on his bike, and it comes to your doorstep. Now this is done again differently: 4 minutes for packing, 6 minutes on the way. So how do you do it? They call it the dark stores, and I have a slide for that later. But you have aisles the way we walk in a retail store. You have aisles full with barcodes, they are with sensors, and there are handheld devices. So the moment your order gets punched, the next person will pick up a device, he will start going through the aisle, and the aisle has beacons which will beep to tell you that whatever is in the order is right here. So the moment it beeps, the person stops, looks at the machine, collects it in his bag, goes on, and then typically collects everything. Now of course people are trained, people are there every day, so they kind of know that where what things are. So a person won't run across all the aisles with the device to collect a bread from the aisle. He will directly go to where the bread is and go. They rely heavily on Google Map integration. So they will always be guided by the map, the fastest route which is there, and they will reach the society, not the house. So if there are big cluster of buildings in a gated community, their commitment is only till the gate. So even if you see Domino's, their commitment is only till the gate. They will say I was here at this time, and that's about it. Doesn't mean I will have to reach your home, because that might want me to write in some register or request you to open the door, or call you and show my face and then you open. So that's not what the commitment is. It's actually the gate of the society, right? Again, 10 minutes is a promise, is what Zepto says. It may not be kept, and if it is not kept, they are not liable to give you some refund or give you discount for the next order and so on. Likewise, be it Swiggy, Instamart, be it anybody else, they're just saying this is promise. You need not hold us liable for this. And this is how it gets done. Some of it I was talking, right? So 2000 to 3000 square feet, they call it dark store, because it can be on the first floor, or practically any floor, because they are not doing a retail sale at this point of time. So that is where it would be aided by barcodes and RFID, right? So order confirmation will create a buzz on the handheld device. The concerned person runs to fill up the bag, comes back, the scanning counter will scan it to ensure that the inventory is correct, to ensure that the correct order is going, and just starts running towards the delivery, right? So what gets stocked there? You won't get a 5-liter can of oil in a dark store or in a quick commerce delivery. You will get a 1-liter oil bottle or pouch. So smaller SKUs are stocked, frequently ordered items are stocked, and there are area specific adjustments. So if over a period of time you realize that a particular area you are seeing a lot of orders with non-veg, so you will stock additional non-veg there, and people would be there. But there could be some areas, some localities where predominantly people are veg and you don't see non-veg orders, and then there is a possibility that all your non-veg items could go away. So you could just move to having all veg things stocked there, and so on, right? These are 24-hour operations. So not that you and I can order 24 hours, but the way they work is the entire night they stock things, they put stickers to it, they arrange the aisles, they stock the aisles and the goods, ensure that the inventory is updated, so you don't have a stock of. And around 6:30 or 6 o'clock, depending on the city and locality, right up to 11 p.m. at night, or sometimes 11:30, is when the actual operations run. They run in 2 shifts. So you have 1 shift in the morning, 1 shift in the night for delivery. And then you have the night shift, which actually takes care of store replenishment. So hardcore operations concept driven by technology, because they're all aided by maps, guided by barcodes, helped by AI. So the way AI is helping is to find out the optimum stock. So let's say, all of us Indians want Maggie. So Maggie is a fast moving item, so to say. But what is the optimum stock? It is fast moving doesn't mean that in a 2000 square feet area, you have all packs of Maggie, which is occupying a lot of place, right? There are interconnected systems. So what we order on the app gets to their handheld device, gets back to their phone app, and so on. There are systems which are predicting order patterns, like I said, based on locality, based on user, you can do that. There are dashboards to guide what should be the next one. And then, of course, technology is exposed to customer to build trust. And how is that done? Whenever the order is on the road, actually on your app, you and I can see the map. So be it the Swiggy, Zomato, Big Basket or Zepto, we exactly know that the person is close to us and how long the person would take to reach. And that's what gets us to where we are, right? So again, I think I'll go through this slide and then we take a pause again. So current major players really Swiggy, Dunzo, Blinkit, Big Basket and Zepto. I won't really go through that. I mean, for you to just see how they started, where they are now, right? So Blinkit started as Grow First. It has investments from Zomato, Swiggy, of course, already there in food delivery, started this separately. Zepto is the only company which came up with Qcom or Qcom as the specific need solver. And Zepto apparently claims that it is operationally profitable, of course, not listed, heavily funded by VCs. So we don't know what the actual numbers are, but that is what they have been claiming. So I'll no, keep this on the screen till you read, and then we can have a question queue again. And if you want to have any questions, yes, that's right. So I'm just taking the questions. So they will charge people later for faster deliveries. Current phase is where they want people to get used to it. Absolutely, that's what it is. Zepto has already started. So did Dunzo. So what Zepto did is they started with a 2 rupee charge. Now this 2 rupee charge they said is only for the packaging material, which is over and above what they are providing. They cannot get it in hand, so they will give a bag which is for 2 rupees. This bag is not reusable, so that is more of a paper bag. So they started using 2 rupees. Dunzo at some point started charging a 7 rupee delivery charge. Now what happened after that is, and I'm giving you an example of Pune, but this has happened in multiple localities in Mumbai. So all those who are in Mumbai and have been using these apps, do have a look. Or other cities, you can do a comparison yourself because this has happened across. Right? We Indians are very loyal to just one thing, which is cost. So anytime, whenever, right, there is somebody else giving the same service, the same brand at a cheaper rate, we instantly know. We have absolutely no issues moving from Dunzo to Big Basket. एक app ही तो download करना है. That too, it is free. All of us have phones. So what? We will download. We will register. We will compare, and then we'll decide that Big Basket is cheaper. Let us go to Big Basket. Then you realize a Big Basket also start charging 3 rupees for that. Okay, let's go to Blinkit. What is Blinkit doing? Blinkit is not charging any money. So we saw Dunzo completely moving out of some markets the moment they started charging a delivery charge, right? So they said earlier it was free. Any delivery which is above 100 rupees is free. Now it comes to a point where I cannot sustain this. So I'm going to introduce a 20 rupee delivery charge, even for 100 rupees, or you order for 500 rupees. Right? So 500 people will not order frequently. So what happened is their delivery boys were idle. So they said, okay, if 500 for zero delivery charge, that doesn't work, you pay 20 rupees. Now, the next thing, of course, people asked is why 20 rupees? Because Big Basket is giving free delivery for 100 rupees. And 100 rupees, kuch na kuch to bani jata hai 100 rupees ka. Why do I need to, wait for that? If I want something which is of 40, 50 rupees, I will add something, one cold drink, one, some eatable, so that I cross that 100 rupee threshold and I get it for free. Okay, so what is Big Basket charging if you don't have goods worth 100 rupees? They are charging 15 rupees. Acha, so, but in your cart, you have something worth 50 rupees. 50 plus 15 is actually cheaper than buying another thing which you don't need. Doesn't matter. I will need that anyways sometime later. So I might as well do that. the feeling of getting something for free is immense in India. So the moment we say free, people are willing to spend more without looking at the calculation and be very happy that I got the delivery free. And that is how one or the other had to vacate certain market and give that market share to the competition. This has been happening all across the country, right? Something which we saw across industries. We saw this in food delivery. There were many apps when things began consolidated to two. We saw this in telecom, and nothing to do with last mile delivery. We saw this in telecom. Many players consolidated. We are seeing that in the airline industry. We are seeing that in transport industry, right? So all of that will happen here. That has already started. It's a matter of time that this happens, right? And yeah, they also mentioned terms and conditions apply on their app, and finding those terms and conditions is always a challenge. They all they do is have just the bare minimum legal mandatory things on the app, so that they don't cross the law. But if you look at it independently, then of course there is a lot of things which are open for interpretation and so on and so forth. So before we really go and look at the challenge, right? So the idea is not something which we came up with. So this has been around for a very long time. So be it in Colombia, be it in European Union, be it in US, it's around. So it's around across the world, from South America, North America, ASEAN, Europe. It's been around. So what we have done over a period of time is we have just copied it, bettered it, changed it for Indian conditions, and put it out in Indian conditions. Now, what happens when it comes to the likes of GoPuff or Delivery Hero or Postmates is that these are places where you don't have the concept of MRP. So you are using this as a service where you can actually go and say that whatever the rate, if I want, I will come. In India, making money becomes more difficult because 99% things, except say vegetables, fresh produce, comes with an MRP. And that's where things go south for the players. So when it comes to when will companies make money, very difficult. Now, the likes of Zomato and Swiggy, which have been charging 30-40% commission to the restaurants who pass it on to us. If you go and eat a plate of rice in a restaurant, they would maybe charge you 100 rupees. You order from the same restaurant a plate of rice, it's suddenly 140 when you look at it on the app. So in spite of this, Zomato and Swiggy have not been profitable. So when you look at it differently for Q-commerce, this is one big challenge which is going to stay with us for a real long time, right? But let's come to the operations problem here, right? And then take the next break. And what motivated Swiggy to get into Instamart, or what really is the challenge? So these are real numbers. I have not plotted the numbers from a confidentiality perspective, but for a city, and this is a city, an average size, one of the top 10 cities in India. What is it in terms of number of orders based on time? So time of the day, the leftmost is early morning, the rightmost of course is late in the night. So you see orders start picking up around breakfast, right? They have a scattered lunch timing based on office lunch, home lunch, so on. They dip in the afternoon, but they don't go below the breakfast level, so things are still moving. And they get to peak at dinner, which is a shorter time peak as compared to lunch. So your dinner timings are more closer or more similar to each other than what your lunch timings are, which are spread out over a period of time. And then towards the end of the day, the drop is sharp. Orders pick up from morning, but the end is sharp. Now, from an operations professional like me, or anybody else who is working in operations or has specialization in operations, you will appreciate this, right? So the focus of operations is utilization. So how do you utilize people? This is your most average optimum way. This is what happens. If you start having more partners with you, they will have idle time, right? Any machine, any people sitting idle is not a great idea, because you're paying for it but not utilizing the service. If you decide to not increase the number of people, you will have long wait times for food during dinner, and then you have a long idle time, right? So can you do something? You can. And that is what people did. How do you want to utilize the idle time? You could have shifts, you could have multiple other things to think. But remember, these people are not directly employed by Zomato, Blinkit, Big Basket, Swiggy. They are mostly on contract. They have a pay of fixed plus variable, like a per delivery pay, and it's more of a more work, more pay concept. So how do you ensure that you have the most optimum partners at all times, right? So this is the problem which actually led to the likes of Swiggy moving into the Instamart business. That how can you utilize the idle time of people to do something else? And what is that something else? You have a delivery partner who only understands delivery. He has a bike. He can take things from place A to place B. How is he doing it? It could be anything. It could be food, it could be documents, it could be vegetables, it could be fruits, it could be just be anything. Doesn't matter what it is. And that's what really led to this. So before really we go towards challenges, do we have any questions to discuss? Do we have any things to share? Anybody who works in this area of operations? Yes, I agree. In European countries, departmental stores are located kilometers apart. Yes, so you really don't have stores where you can just walk out of your houses and go, except for the large cities where again, no, it's very congested. So in India, multiple stores found in a kilometer for purchasing groceries. Absolutely, no, completely to the point. That is where completely to the point. Nothing more to add around it. So another question: what is cloud kitchen concept? Okay, so cloud kitchen is a concept where uh, let's take a step back. We have restaurants where you and I can go, restaurants, coffee shops, wherever, go sit, order, eat. Now, these businesses also have a lot of reliance on parcel delivery, right? So one of the early pioneers of cloud kitchen was actually the Faso chain. If you've heard of it before, the Faso chain had their stores where they would have these roles and everything, primarily roles in the market. And that's when they decided that the cost to operate a store is very high, and they're actually doing more sale on parcel than what they are doing in the store. So that's when they decided to take the concept to cloud kitchen, again borrowed from Europe, borrowed from US, not something that we designed in India. So cloud kitchen basically is something where the food is prepared at a place which is not a retail chain. So it could be on the first floor, fourth floor, fifth floor, anywhere. You and I cannot go there. There are no tables, not a place where we will sit and order. You can only use it for delivery. Now this Fasos group, I think, yeah, so their name is Rebel Foods. So do go and check out. They have a lot of brands, all of which are cooked at the same time. So Rebel Foods has a brand in pizza. They have a brand in desserts. They have a brand in Chinese. They have a brand in multiple other things. But their prime, the flagship brand was Fasos, and that's where they grew. And no, of course, now it has become a business where they don't want to come in front of the person at all. They have their own app to take on the likes of Swiggy and Zomato, and of course, you can order on Swiggy and Zomato as well. But the idea is to cut cost, because a retail front-facing retail outlet is much more expensive to operate, have, and be on the rental than whatever is on the say upper floors, where you can still cook and provide parcels, especially at a time when parcel is garnering more traction than actually going there and sitting, right? So I think, yeah, so if I've answered cloud kitchen, then Okay, so the same concept, Gojek and Grab are very famous there, only place there, even. Yes, so that's you're transporting humans, that's right. Gojek and Grab, again, Gojek started as transporting humans, as you rightly said. So Gojek was a competitor to Uber in that region, the entire ASEAN, Indonesia, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand. And Gojek then moved to food delivery, parcel delivery, just about anything, from humans to food to fresh produce to anything they will do. But Grab was a exact equivalent of Zomato and Swiggy's delivery model. And again, they had competition from Uber Eats. Gojek, if I'm not wrong, Gojek was the one which purchased Uber Eats in Southeast Asia, and now they are one. So Uber Eats doesn't exist anymore. But yes, these two are very similar. No, in fact, surprisingly, they have same color as well. Both of them are green, and they have their huge branding. The big thing, and I've noticed this in person, is that they have a compulsory helmet for the rider. So when you are transporting human on a two-wheeler, it is mandatory that the passenger also wears the helmet. So the rider actually carries an extra helmet. So he wears one, then you as a passenger has to wear one, and that is how you are then taken around the city. So Jakarta is one of those three or four heavily congested cities in the world, the others being Tokyo and Mexico City and Manila. So the four top four congested cities in the world are these, and two-wheeler is the way forward. So I've seen company CXOs and others actually taking the Gojek or Grab two-wheeler and coming to work, because otherwise it would take anywhere between 2 to 3 hours stuck in traffic. So they just leave the car wherever there is traffic, call for a bike. The bike comes from footpath, the way we do it in India. I think no difference. कोई भी कहीं से भी आ जाता है, and then they'll just go. So that is how things move. Yeah, so Satish, we have that in Goa as well. In Goa, it is legal. Of course, in other states, it has always been a back and forth. The four-wheeler taxis and the three-wheeler autos complaining against two-wheeler versus the two-wheelers trying to get in. So yeah, Kolkata as well. A step back. This last mile delivery, especially on the Rapido is the right example, especially to tide over this idle time versus peak time concept. How it started in the West is that it was more around additional work. So people are already working somewhere, they are going home, the car is empty, so they register for Uber, and you become a taxi just for a short period of time. When it came to India, it became very different. It became a full-time work for people and not a part-time thing, and that's where the difference lies. So if you see, wherever there is part-time, everybody knows that there is some money to be made during the dinner time peak, and you can do a delivery or to be happy with whatever extra money you get, fine. But the moment it gets full-time, and that's your daily bread and butter, things become difficult, and that's exactly what I'm coming to when it comes to challenging. We can still continue discussing this. Yes, blah blah app again for carpooling. Yes, that is one. But I don't know what your thoughts are, and I'll of course be glad to listen to them. Uh, Here is what I have seen, having worked in public transport, cargo transportation overall, right? India has a very unique way of dealing with these issues. So once a passenger will go with the car, realize that it is, let's say the fare is 100 rupees from place A to place B. The driver also will very, what do you say, very cunningly tell that, जाते वक्त मेरे को 100 रुपए दे दो, ऐप से मत करो. So one, you have got the likes of Uber. Very difficult to make money for Uber, because now the person is outside the app. right? We tend to trust people. So it's not that because you're on Uber, you could get some help if something goes wrong. But we tend to trust people. Abhi ek ghanta to aaya, uske sath he looks okay. I'm willing to do that. Sometimes people will do it for a discount also. They will say, why do you want to go through the app? Here is my number. You call me. That guy charges 10% of my total bill. So I'll pass on that discount to you. Why should I give him? I will give you that discount. And people are okay with that. So all these apps, let's say the likes of blah blah or anything else, where there is a small commission to be paid to the app, and that's how they are expected to make money. The moment you get connected, you will move to WhatsApp and start connecting with people and start checking if you are going on this route tomorrow also. If you are going, I will pay you same kalki itna and I'll come. So those are the things which happen. Of course, open if you have any more examples to share. If you have done it, no, even more interesting to know. And anything else around this to share would be very interesting. So no. Right. So Google Maps used by these players, most of them, yes, because Google Maps is one of the cheapest and one of the most updated ones. Over my career in IT, I worked with a couple of these apps, in IoT space and others. I have also seen integrations with Bing Maps. So Bing Map is also another one which is there. There is another map called Waze. Waze is very popular as an app and map in Southeast Asia. So those are some of the integrations done. But to be honest, Google Maps is the most easiest to integrate, most economical, and they give you a lot of APIs which help you with faster integration and no higher usage. So more or less, it has been Google Maps across transportation. Yeah, so of course it is. I mean, applications paid to Google Maps. Yes. No, as I just mentioned. Okay, so charge differs. It depends on what you want to show. So if you just want to show the map, it's really very less. If I'm not wrong, it is about $10 or $12 per month. But then your demands are different. So you would want a rider to be shown live. Then it requires different integration, and then it is largely driven by volume, not by the number. So when we say volume, it is hits, number of hits. So every time there is a hit on, let's say, take example of Zomato or Swiggy, you will first get a point saying that a delivery partner has been assigned. When you start seeing him on the map, that considered one hit. Now the person is moving, you will not get a second by second update, but you will get more of a 5 to 7 second update on what is the movement. So that is second hit. Then you get the third hit, which is again an event, which is a person has picked up and he is moving. So that's the third one which is there. And then again every 7 seconds till he reaches you. So it moves from the hits which are there. Now extrapolate that at the city level, at a country level, then you know that the hits are huge, and it's more of a B2B discussion between the two platforms to get customized pricing. So there is no specific per hit charge which Google charges. Then there are of course additional features. I mean, those who use Zomato, I don't know if this exists on Swiggy, to be honest. You will see that there is a green or some colored circle wherever you are ordering. So the moment the rider enters that circle, you get a notification to say that the person has reached, and he will come to your doorstep soon. This is known as geofencing. So that is something which Google Maps gives as a cost, or you can develop over and above that map on your own and put it on Google Maps. So both has a cost. Which cost is more affordable to you? If you have a tech team, can you do it? If you don't have a tech team, do you want to rely on Google? So multiple permutation and combination. Okay, so let's move on to the next one, right? So just pulled out a couple of news for online, right? Recently we saw a lot of tries. The Blinkit one in North India was one of the most talked about, but typically, some issue with the delivery boy, some issue with the partners going on strike, and so on, and of course. Again, I don't know if you remember this, right? But Right, so I'll just stop it. We know what happened. And on the right, you can say a Swiggy rider with a Zomato box or a Zomato rider with a Swiggy T-shirt. We don't know who that person is servicing, right? So no, one of it. Now look at it. Then you go to no. Uh, this is where the challenge lies, right? So you have CXOs at the top who are more active on the likes of LinkedIn and Twitter and so on. You have a lot of folks in the headquarter, regional heads, city representatives, and so on. And then you have delivery boys. Now, delivery boys are the lowest paid in the hierarchy, are lowest in the hierarchy. Your brand, though, is driven by them because it's the t-shirt, it's the handling, it's the way the person speaks, it's the way the person makes his way to your house is what drives the brand, right? All of us have a choice, Swiggy or Zomato. A lot of people in India have two choices, Swiggy and Zomato, because we'll check where are we getting the cheapest and fastest, and that is where we order. But apart from that, we have our choices. There is a reason why the choice came. There definitely was the reason, not that I like red or I like orange. So it is our experiences which got us to where we are in terms of preference today. All of this largely is contract labor, right? So there is no affinity to the brand. I mean, the CXO is talking a lot about how he's building the brand, what he's doing, what not. A person earning 12 or 15 or 18,000 is least bothered about. There is another challenge which comes, right? The valuations of Zomato and Swiggy, which are billions of dollars and or billions of rupees, and what the CEO gets paid is in public domain because of the way the nature of this business is and the VC funding, right? Somebody earning 15,000 or 18,000 who is actually doing the heavy lifting, it's very demotivating for him to know that somebody sitting in office and giving gyan, which is not actually happening on the local level, is earning lakhs of rupees, and all that he's getting is a few thousand rupees, running around, be it sun, rain, wind, whatever, just running around doing the delivery, right? So is the what is in this for me syndrome, which all of us who are working, right, sometimes go through in our respective offices, that no, all is well, but what is in it for me? So how do you keep him or her motivated in this situation, right? How do you ensure that this person who is carrying a Zomato bag on a Swiggy t-shirt, absolutely no clue, whose stuff he is delivering, what exactly is happening, right? I'm sure you have also come across people who have both apps in the phone, Ola and Uber, and whosoever they get the business first from, they just sign up and go. So they just open both the apps and keep ready, whichever comes, they switch off the other one and go and take that ride and go. That's how India is as a different. But these are not the only challenges of last mile delivery, right? It has a wider impact. And what is the wider impact? The wider impact is that last mile delivery might be an operations challenge, right? How do you get it in 10 minutes, 30 minutes, use of map, use of technology, getting the rider in time, cutting 30 seconds somewhere is all an operations problem. But in this case, it is not anymore, right? We've seen non-compliance. The one of the videos which I showed you, the person is eating the parcel and then he's going to go and deliver the same thing, become a huge social media thing. So it's a big marketing problem, right? The delivery boy's behavior is a huge HR problem. Now, again, this person is contracted, so not in direct employment with you. We saw some of the strikes recently. So it's a HR plus marketing problem because you're getting so much negative publicity. Your entire marketing thing is gone for a toss. And of course, you need those people back because you have to continue the business, which has temporarily stopped, right? And what does this overall lead into? It's a finances and valuation problem because for certain days you have lost your revenue. People are likely to shift to somebody else because of the experience which they are getting. So that's a long-term thing, right? And this impacts your valuation because these are all funded by VCs. These companies are becoming big only because VC is pumping in money, and they need that to grow because they're not making money on their own. So now this translates into a bigger HR challenge. How do you attract talent at that level? Because people move for even a 500 rupee jump. I mean, somebody who's earning 10,000 gets 500 rupee more, he will definitely jump, no doubt. So that becomes a challenge. Optimizing and focus on profit is what a core operations thing, but you don't have people. You have so many challenges happening. How do you focus on your core things? You are not able to do that. And what is your differentiation from a marketing perspective, right? So we as management people, either already into management, or doing our management degree to get into middle management, and aspiring to get into higher management, how should we look at it holistically? Because we might come with specializations in front of our MBA, but in the end what matters is we are all general managers, we are all people managers, we are all into management with jack of all trades plus a specialization of one. So that is what we are looking at over a period of time. So how do we handle it? And that's where there is no magic wand, there is no trick that you or I or anybody else has, because if it would have been, this would have never existed. It's for us to understand the human behavior, right? So the HR these days is more becoming like a no, not human resource management, but more of a human response management. So if you see last mile delivery, especially the people with whom we end up working, we have to gauge the response. What is going to happen? It's very easy to say that oh no, I'm going to cut your commission from the next day. They went on strike. So as an HR, what should have been gauged is what is the human response that is going to come, right? No, I'm just cutting 5%. What will they do? Nothing. That is what is the thought that typically goes into that. But what happened is completely unanticipated. I'll give you an example outside the last mile part also. Again, in newspaper, during this entire merger of Tata Group of airlines, the Air India Express, and so on. Last week, I think the company came up with a circular that the crew will have to share the rooms. Currently, they get a one room each whenever they are out of their city. They will have to share it right now. Supposedly, they are very well paid people. The pilots and all get at least 2 to 3 lakh rupees a month as their salary. The cabin crew is also well paid, though I don't know the salary, but they're highly paid. Now you would assume that how would highly paid people also react to that, right? Turns out the group had to take back that circular and said that we are not implementing this. Again, something I read in the news. That is because people complained. The unions threatened to go on strike. So that's where I say that HR is more towards a human response management. The highest of paid people also had an issue, right? So it's not that it's happening only at the lowest of bracket. It's not related to pay. It's related to how it goes out as a communication, and it's related to how you are handling the whole situation. So that's where challenge in attracting talent, the HR operations marketing function together has more value than possibly anything else, and has ability to either impact finances positively or negatively based on how things get done. Uh, Coming towards the last bit before we again go back to questions, right? So, Big Basket, Dunzo, Zomato, Swiggy, Zepto, typically what we have in the Indian market right now, right? A lot of investments are happening, and actually these ones could be the first jobs which are lost to drones and robotics, right? So you already have a lot of chains in the West where, due to staff shortage, you have robots stocking the aisles, robots pulling the aisles. People have done away with, in 2018, I saw in Europe complete automation for a retail checkout. So you don't have to really go to a person, pick up whatever you want, come there, put it in a basket. It will tell you what is the total price. Pay that with your card and just walk out. If you've not paid for something, you will still be caught there, where somebody will come and assist you or catch hold of you. So that side we have already seen. Now the delivery side, drones are being tested. Will it work? Will it not work? Will it work in the West but not in India? Because we have a lot of wires dangling between roads. Our drones going to navigate that? Is traffic easier to navigate than the wires dangling around? We don't know. These are early days. But these could be the areas which could go. So that's another threat which we have for these people. So that's another challenge. Are people going to come here as a career? And second, you're doing the same thing again and again. So all of us expect our salaries to go up every year, right? Uh, can you really pay these people more every year for doing the same work, because your margins as a company are not going up? So put yourself in the shoes of the middle and higher management of these companies. How do you balance consumers, how do you balance your vendors on one side, and the entire support staff in the middle, who is of course expecting more money like anybody else, nothing wrong in that. But then no, can you keep paying them more every year for doing the same work, and there is not going to be any skill addition, any skill change that is needed? How would that work for your finances? That's where the real, things are being pulled at all stages. So I'll leave at this slide before we take questions. I think we've got 15 minutes as budgeted for questions. Feel free to take me back to any slide if you want for that. So just shows some of the areas where I've worked: public transport, railways, cargo, express courier, airlines. My email ID, if you want to get in touch with me anytime later and connect offline. I would really like to, if you have any interesting things to share, we could get connected. And, yeah, so I'll look at the questions now. Uh, yeah, customers wants food at cheaper price. Yes, restaurants wants to make higher margin. Rider wants more profit for a delivery product. Yes, there is also a fourth angle to this. That is, what is the platform making? So we as consumers, of course, want the best at the lowest cost. Now restaurants want high margin because the likes of Zomato and Swiggy are taking 30-40% from them. They are passing it on to us. So they are saying that if you come to the restaurant, this food item is available for 100 rupees. The same thing gets listed on Zomato at 140, 150, and it has come on social media multiple times. But of course, I mean, I'm sure all of us have experience of that. So restaurant actually is managing to keep the same margin and increasing their revenue because they are getting more orders via Zomato. Riders want more profit, of course. They don't like waiting at the restaurant. They also don't like coming into tall buildings because that takes away a lot of time. So they're more happy to do more frequent deliveries because, as I said, it's a mix of fixed plus variable. More deliveries you do, the more money you get. Who doesn't want more money? All of us want, right? So that, and the fourth is the platform. The platform actually wants to take more money, and that's where they have to move towards profitability. More often than not, restaurants are profitable. We have money to pay. That's why we are ordering. The delivery boy is getting his salary plus variable, so he's there. The only person reporting losses is actually the platform, right? Right. Right. So minimum wages to be paid, yes. But if it's a contractual employment, there is no minimum wages because that is a part-time employment, doesn't come into any act. So earlier they did have minimum wages. Then they went into a lot of issues. Do you need PF? Do you not need PF and other things? And then they've more of a outsourced that thing. So they've outsourced that headache. It's a two-way thing. One, because these people are provided by vendors in some cities. If something goes wrong, the big brands can actually raise their hands and say, I had contracted into him, now he messed up, what do I do? I'll cancel the contract and do something else. So those things have also happened. On the other side, in cities where they continue to have their own delivery partners on their things, these are the challenges which come up: that minimum wages, compliance, insurance, all of that is needed. So that, that is something which is part and parcel of this business. Yeah, so Aditya, it's not Akasha, it's Air India which ordered those many planes, not Akasha. Akasha is the one which Rakesh Jhunjhunwala has funded before, unfortunately expired. But those are his investments. But yeah, it's the Tata Group Airlines combined who have ordered those 870 planes. Of course, it surpasses Indigo. So yeah. Yeah, how EV vehicles impact logistic services. So I just learned few things this morning. That government is giving a huge push for last mile delivery, especially in the EV part, and coming with coming up with a policy towards subsidizing this. So if you move from normal vehicles to EV for your last mile delivery, then you will get some subsidy. Of course, moving trucks which ply between two cities to EV is a very long shot, because you don't have that kind of charging infrastructure. EV truck might not carry as much load, so on and so forth. But for the last mile, there is some policy which is coming up. How profitable? Very difficult to calculate, because a lot of it depends on the unit cost which goes in, and how much frequent charging will be needed. Because on one charge across the night, you may not be able to do the entire day, which means there is a downtime for the vehicle. And how do you take that downtime? You don't want your vehicle to go down from lack of charge during the peak lunch or dinner time, let's say, for a food delivery business. So I don't know the costing, to be honest, on how it gets calculated for the EV, but it's a difficult proposition to calculate, because Excel sheet costing will give you something, but you also have to at the practical impact on how often do you need to charge this, right? Yeah, so to the best of my knowledge, the government is not taking any such initiative to consolidate that. They do have an initiative called ONDC. ONDC is like a UPI kind of initiative. It's a platform where sellers can come, buyers can come, buy, and it gets out. So the last mile delivery is done by anyone. So currently you have Amazon doing it for Amazon, and vendors of Flipkart doing it for Flipkart. Whereas when you go on ONDC, it's live in Bangalore and a couple of other cities as part of trial. But when you go on ONDC, it actually says that if I purchase this, I have 2-3 options. Anybody could bid and say, I will deliver this from place A to place B at this rate. And you as a consumer choose who does it, and that gets delivered. But especially on the courier transportation, I have not heard of anything. Yeah, so there comes the question on ONDC as well. So, okay. That is something which, even I have been reading. I came across a couple of good articles which were pro ONDC versus anti ONDC for Zomato and Swiggy and Big Basket and the likes of quick commerce companies, right? Then I came across one news that Zomato has a subsidiary which is servicing orders under ONDC. So it seems that people will have to move to that model where you also have work under ONDC, and you also have non-ONDC things, because ONDC may not be the answer to everything. But if ONDC does pick up like what UPI did, and really ensured that a lot of fintech apps had to close down because they had no other business model, they were working on having a wallet and discounting, then it really puts the profitability forecast of both Zomato, Swiggy, Blinkit, Zepto, Dunzo, everybody in a real quandary. We don't know when they will be profitable in that case, if at all they would be profitable or not as well. So it all depends on how ONDC is accepted by the market. I mean, honestly, I wasn't expecting as many questions. This felt like a rapid fire round for me. The questions kept coming, but it's good to really answer them to the best of my knowledge. And good to see a lot of questions and interest around this area, because when it comes to job opportunities and the challenges, this is one area which is upcoming and changing literally every day. For people, just imagine, when was the first time you used Zomato or Swiggy, and when was the last time you used it? Maybe a week ago, or maybe yesterday, or maybe even today, and see the changes which have happened, right? So now, coming from a product management background, I have closely tracked how the apps have evolved and how the businesses have evolved, and you see how quickly, rapidly they have changed, right? So profitability still remains a huge challenge, but if you look at it from a user experience perspective, a lot had changed. So this is one area where it will be very important to keep tracking, because this is where job opportunities are, and all of us are at some or the other point of time always looking out for those. This could be one area which is actually a good mix of marketing, HR, and operations. So not all jobs give you access to all these three things. things. This is one which actually gives you to that. Yeah, so no, welcome. Thank you for having me. So good to see some interest in this area. So if you have any more questions, do reach out to me via email. If you have some interesting stories to share which you think are too small to write on the chat, or want to just share with me and connect later, feel free to drop in an email and we will connect there as well. So so I've purposely kept the numbers out. I think it's very easy to Google and find it, because a lot of times people want to know how big is the market, how big are these players. This is just one Google search away. So in interest of time, I've actually kept the numbers out. They change every month, so no point in really putting it out. But do have a look at that as well to understand the scale. How many numbers are how many consumers are serviced, what is the revenue opportunity. So no, that's the last bit. So thanks.
Okay, so students, if you have any question, we can take another 1 or 2 questions. If you have any, please ask. Team, have we given them the right to unmute?
Yes.
Okay. Students, if you have any, we can have one question. Okay. I don't think so. I think, sir, you have almost answered all the answers, because there were a lot of questions floating on the chat box, and I think most of the answers were shared by you. So I would just like to propose the vote of thanks. But before that, students, we are having some important announcements, like we always have for the end of the session. So please stay. And it was a privilege, sir, to have you for the Spectrum, that is the virtual conclave 2023 at MITSD. And you took out your time, that too in the weekend. So really, thank you so much. Your thoughts and insights regarding the last mile delivery and the challenges which you shared regarding the quick commerce were truly remarkable. Also, the real time examples like Swiggy, Zomato, Zepto, and the advertisement which you showed of Domino's. Also, the challenges which you shared, so that was truly helpful for us and for the students as well. So thank you so much, sir, and we would love to have many more insightful sessions with you in the future. So thank you so much.
Sure. Thanks a lot for having me here, and good day. Thanks again, and
Yes, sir.
look
uh,
forward to connect.
yes, sir. So before closing, sir, I just want to have a quick photo with you and with our students. So team,
Sure.
can we take a good picture?
Yeah, sure. Just please switch on your camera, everyone. Okay, I'm ready. Smile, please, everyone. Stay online. I'm taking one more. Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Thank you, Ameya.